You know what I love the most? This chat is becoming more and more interesting. So I just learned that you are not only a dancer, but you painted, right? You and then you love plants.
I'm not a painter though. No, I
No.
can't draw to save my life. Oh my gosh, you should see my illustrations with my 5-year-old over there. I can't draw, but I teach a painting class because it's all about letting go, like this.
Welcome to Recast and Rise, the podcast for performers and creatives ready to explore what's next. You'll hear inspiring stories of artists who reinvented themselves and found new careers after the stage. Let's recast and rise. Hello, Danielle. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. You were a professional ballet dancer, and now you have this incredible wellness platform that is called the Triangle Sessions, and we'll hear all about it in a few minutes. But can you share a little bit more about your background as a dancer, and then we'll dive into your career transition.
Great. Thank you so much, Eve. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, ballet and dance was my life. I started when I was 3 years old. When I was 6 years old, I declared this is what I want to do. So I trained very intensely. I went to all the summer programs. And then starting at about age 16, 17, I thought, you know what? I don't know if the traditional career path is going to be best for me. I'm going to hedge my bets. I went to NYU Tisch. I became a little bit more versatile as a performer. I learned more modern and contemporary. And then when I graduated in 2009, right at the recession, I technically had a job offer in a ballet company, but I turned it down and I performed on a cruise ship where I was able to travel the world and live expense-free, and then kind of did the commercial dance contemporary loop for a while until I finally got my break at the Metropolitan Opera, and I spent 10 years there and just retired October of 2024.
Wow, it's a year ago-ish.
Almost, yes.
What are you going to celebrate? It's a big milestone.
Yes, and I'm so grateful that I had a 10-year run there. I had 5 years dancing professionally before. My friends teased. I said that I retired about half a dozen times, and I never want to close a door. But at 37 years old, I feel very confident to go forward and kind of help develop this next chapter of my life.
Yes. Why did you decide to transition?
That's a really good.
Beside being 37 years old and all the
Of
things you just
course,
yeah, yeah.
yes. You can't do it forever. And they say either your finances give out or your body gives out. And I was very lucky that my body stayed intact. But starting at around the age of 29, 30, I wanted to take a little bit more control over my financial trajectory. So I started my own business, and I knew I didn't want to quit dance, but I found myself in my 20s, even at the Met Opera, dream job, but it was not full time. So when I was contracted at the Met, my finances were up here. But when I wasn't contracted, I was there teaching, which I loved, but kind of hostessing at restaurants, kind of doing the grind just to make ends meet. I thought to myself, okay, what if for the next 5 years or so I continue to dance at the Met, but when I'm not at the Met, can I put my finances up here and maybe start my own business? And then when I retire, I have that to fall back on.
That's incredible. How many years? So you started the business obviously while still performing and all that. How many years did you juggle both?
Years. So I first launched the Triangle Sessions in 2018. And initially, it was going to be a 3-pillar fitness method. So I had a yoga certification. I worked as a trainer for New York City elite and celebrities and models, and I love that. But then I also got a nutrition certification because I really believed in this holistic approach to taking care of your body and being mindful about what you eat, how you take care of yourself without being gimmicky. And I'm very passionate about that, even to this day. So that's why it's called the Triangle Sessions, because it was a 3-pillar fitness method. And through kind of years and opportunities and life just unfolding, it evolved into something entirely different and working not necessarily with individuals, but working with companies on a larger scale.
Tell us what you do for those businesses.
Sure. Again, non-linear. What started at first was just going to be your traditional corporate wellness. So anything from yoga to meditation to mindfulness to Pilates classes. But companies often need a little bit more. So then started to put together classes that were more interactive in which we could send out kits. And this is like really where we got momentum. This was in COVID. Started to do a terrarium building workshop, found a fabulous vendor. We sent out little terrarium kits. I think I have one over there in which we talk about how plant care relates to self-care. In COVID, people just wanted happy hours. I said, okay, how are we going to do this? We're still a corporate wellness company. So put together this class, Foam Rollers and Fizz, in which we sent out bottles of Prosecco and champagne, but also a foam roller. So people learned how to take care of themselves with their body, also taking care of their minds, but then going to be doing a happy hour and a wine tasting on top of it. So they were interested by the wine, but what companies really wanted to sell was maybe the foam rolling, and we had best of both worlds.
You know what I like about this is obviously you're a creative person. During that transition, you use your creativity and ideas that are not linear, like you're suggesting, to build this amazing product. And also you needed to tap into like the happy hour, like the reality of what was happening, COVID and everything. And you had to, being creative to launch that product. And I think it's a great example that when you are in the middle of a career transition is to use your creativity. We are performers, we're artists. And it's, I absolutely love how you use that creativity in your new product and your new platform.
Performers have to, and it's still changing. Right now, alcohol is on the decline, especially for Gen Z. Added another plant class around bonsais. I thought CBD was going to be really popular, and it hasn't necessarily been in alignment with companies. So that was kind of an idea that died along the way. Not everything has been a slam dunk idea-wise, but it's anticipating trends and what they need and duration. Right now, what's really popular is that I'm getting booked for 15-minute stretch sessions for companies. So whether it's 1 time a week, 3 times a week, it's an opportunity for employees, usually remote and hybrid, for them to move and to work on their posture and to take a break in their workday, whether it's to help alleviate stress or to give them a little bit of energy. So riding that wave for a while. So it's a fine line between looking into your skill set, but then also trying to serve and anticipate the needs of a changing workforce.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. Was starting the triangle sessions a passion first, or you knew that you wanted to build something bigger?
That's a great question. So there's definitely passion behind it. There's still passion behind it. But I don't want to say this is a passion project. No, I knew I had to be savvy to set myself up for another career. So I wanted to be strategic. And when I first had this idea for a 3-pillar fitness method, I knew I needed help and extra resources. So I turned to a program called SCORE, which is basically a small business mentoring group. And it's retired executives that give you amazing business advice. And I worked with the New York City chapter for years. I'm still in touch with my mentors. I cannot recommend them as a resource enough. I believe Ben and Jerry's, the ice cream company, use SCORE at some point. It's an amazing resource for anybody who is looking to launch a small business. And my mentor at the time, Shelly Orenstein, she said, go bigger. Like, this is small, think bigger. And I never thought that way because I think as artists, we're usually masochist and it's all about kind of making ends meet. But having that external help and those voices have inspired me to think bigger and see it as a way to expand reach. So it started small, it started kind of with a passion, but then having help along the way with coaching and mentoring that has allowed me to think about the bigger picture.
Would you say that without score, without having some coaching, do you think you would have been able to build the triangle sessions?
Maybe a different iteration. Other platforms exist. Another resource, and Eve, you may have even come across them, Career Transition for Dancers. It's a part of the Actors Fund. I went into Patch's office crying, wondering what I was going to do with my life. And she was actually the one who recommended SCORE. And they offer all these resources, whether it's grants for certifications or grants for education. Again, finding these resources to help you get to where you want to go.
Some guidance. Yes, you could have probably make it happen yourself because that's, I can tell you would have make it happen, but there's something about getting the coaching that aligns you where you want to go, and that extra push and clarity is so beneficial.
Is everything. And I do think as you are trying to find your next thing, it takes a lot of introspection. What do I like? What lights me up? What is going to serve me in this next iteration? Even business wise, with remote and hybrid being a little bit on the decline, thinking about, okay, how can I help people back in person, back in the office, and kind of playing with different iterations of what this is going to look like. So I think it's always a work in progress every step of the way, but particularly in the beginning.
Quick pause. If you are a performer wondering what's next for me, let's connect. I would love to speak with you. You can also send me a message on my socials. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more inspiring stories and career tools. Now, back to our chat. Did you have fears when it was time to pivot and to transition?
Always. I still have fears. At the same time, after performing, nothing is scary. Okay, if this bombs, like just do something else. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, I heard something recently that said it's harder to get out of something than into something. So it's this fine line between not having decision paralysis, just trying something, but not going too far the rabbit hole, or then having the confidence to be able to say, oh no, this is not a fit at all. So it is a bit of a dance to kind of dabble in what interests you, or can I build a business? Or maybe I could be really successful in an entirely different field. So doing your work into figuring out what that looks like, and at the same time having the courage to say, oh no, this isn't right, or to take a leap because you just need to know by doing after a certain point.
Yes, yes. Did you have to learn new skills? And if so, what would you recommend to someone that would like to transition and do and follow a similar path? What skills did you have to learn?
That's a really good question. So I would say rather than reinventing the wheel, look at your skill set. What am I good at in a way that, well, what am I good at? And what are two interesting things that I can maybe put together that will set me apart? Rather than I'm just going to go to graduate school and spend a bunch of money and then just hope that there's a job on the other side. You can absolutely do that. I have a lot of friends, especially in COVID, they became nurses or doctors or physical therapists or went into law school. You could absolutely do that. They are successful and have the financial stability that they maybe craved when they were a dancer. You can absolutely do that. If you don't want to do that, or you maybe have the interest in starting your own business, I think it's good to take your time and look at the people in your circle who are maybe the happiest or who inspire you. Not necessarily the influencers online, but those who you really know, and take a chapter out of their book and say, can I do something similar? And then maybe go from there.
I love that. I love that. You mentioned that you are doing 15-minute stretching sessions with businesses. This is amazing, incredible. What else do you offer through the triangle sessions?
Sure. So we offer 4 signature team building workshops that all have an emphasis on self-care. So we do our signature terrarium workshop, which has to do with the succulent. We do a bonsai workshop, which is all about taking care of plants through the lens of Zen philosophy and how we can take care of ourselves. We do a massage gun workshop that is all about recovery and recharging and habits. I know we use that to take care of our bodies. And then we do this class. Original title is Malbec and Murals. It's now a mindful paint and sip, in which we send out canvases and acrylic paints. And we do this creative exercise, and we can pair that with any type of wine tasting. We also offer a non-alcoholic version if that's preferred by the company. My minor in school was art history, so actually I pulled that in, and we do a little bit of a crash course in art history. I also worked in restaurants, so doing like an introductory wine tasting. So again, pulling from every skill set, but it is this tight, well-received class in less than an hour. I have wonderful vendors that send everything out. So those are our 4 signature events that we kind of have on the menu. And then we do everything else from the stretching to the yoga to the conditioning. And we do work with remote and hybrid teams. We are also starting to work in person more. We recently moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. So starting to serve Charlotte professionals and getting booked for conferences and offsites. So exciting stuff to see how that continues into 2026.
It's growing, and it's been what, a year since you've transitioned. So it's incredible.
Yes, at the same time, I did this full time in COVID. And when we found out that we were going back, this was going to be September 2021, I wanted to go back. I was so lucky that I was one of the performers that had a job waiting for them on the other side. If I didn't have that, I don't think I would have had it in me to start the audition process over again at 33 years old. But I missed the community. I missed the connection. I missed being on stage. So I was lucky to squeeze out a few more seasons and continuing to build the triangle sessions and kind of wean myself off of the dancing. So I'd say with the triangle sessions, I love it. As a performer, you still get to perform. I underestimated how good movement feels and brings out the best in you and your colleagues. And I love sharing these tricks and tips and everything that I used as a professional dancer and bringing it into the non-dancer world. It's been really satisfying.
You know what I love the most? This chat is becoming more and more interesting. So I just learned that you are not only a dancer, but you painted, right? And then you love plants.
I'm not a painter though. No, I
but
can't draw to save my life. Oh my gosh, you should see my illustrations with my 5-year-old over there. I can't draw, but I teach a painting class because it's all about letting go like this.
And then you said that your platform includes succulents and plants. I mean, truly, this is becoming more and more interesting. You're
I know
literally
nothing about succulents or plants. I mean, I do now, but it was a request. And you asked about, did you have to learn new skills? I learn how to present things in a way that's authentic and within my skill set. I don't pretend to do or say anything I don't know anything about. But there's a way, you don't have to be an absolute expert to share a love of something and an idea that's going to help better people.
I love
within
this.
reason.
Yes, exactly. So, Danielle, what do you think about resumes and LinkedIn and this whole world of building more of like a traditional foundation for career transition? What do you think of that?
That is a great question. So, statistically, people only get a job from a random application 2% of the time. It's all about who you know. So you can be lucky and be part of the 2% that gets the random job off LinkedIn. But right now, in particular, it's an insanely competitive job market. I wouldn't recommend it. I would say whenever I have had a leap career wise, or I've had somebody take a chance on me, it's because they know me personally. So, kind of leaning into your weak ties or your friends of friends, or asking, hey, can I shadow you? Or going to a friend here, what do you think about this? Going toward your community and friendships first rather than just trying to compete with everybody else, because typically your friends or your former colleagues or your bosses, they know you. They know your work ethic. They know how you show up. So leaning into those may fast track any progress as opposed to just doing the random job applications. Could feel a little bit soulless. It could feel maybe a little not soulless, but doesn't have your personality. But showing up, I read an article the other day about how somebody dropped off donuts for 10 different recruiters, and that helped him stand out amongst all the applications. Especially with AI, people are using programs in order to get their resume out there and tailor it perfectly. It is competitive and hard, but it's not impossible to kind of lean back into that human personality component in order to help set you apart and maybe try for that new career.
Cute. You obviously love what you're doing, but is there, as creative, is there also another thing, another career path that you're like, oh, you know what? I'd like to explore this as well. What do you think?
Sure, yes. Part of me would love something more with travel down the line. Right now, having a 1-year-old and almost 5-year-old, travel is not necessarily the easiest component, but at some point, yes, having experiences abroad, something that I want to explore. I love scuba diving. I haven't been scuba diving in 7 years, but my husband knows that I'm not allowed to become a dive master. But who knows? Maybe down the line, I'll say, you know what? I really want to be a dive master. I really don't think that's what I want to do. But going back to other things that I love are in hospitality. I love hospitality. I love hotels. I love curated experiences. I love bringing people together with intention. So,
Mhm.
yes, I think that there's a way to take what I'm doing and maybe have it evolve slowly into something else. I don't know yet, but I'm open, and I think ideas change, life change, your needs changed depending on where you are in your life, and just kind of being open to that.
I love that. We'll have to talk maybe in 2 years or 5 years from now when you'll be an actual scuba diving. You'll be certified, and then see, we'll talk
Who
again.
knows? I mean, who knows?
You, Danielle, you obviously have a wonderful creative project on your hand. I love that. The Triangle Sessions is just such an inspiring project. Are there things that you would like potentially to change?
Right now, no, because I'm very content with where I am professionally, business wise. I am so grateful I had a long run dance wise. No, one thing I maybe wish I learned a little bit sooner was to work with my energy levels. So, one thing that has helped is recognizing I have an afternoon crash, because I think, that performer schedule for years, you perform late night, you don't get up that early, but then you train or rehearse in the morning into the early afternoon, and then you have a break before your show. So I was kind of programmed to function that way. And I fought it for a while, and now I just know come 2, 3 o'clock, it's a quiet time. I could close my eyes for a few minutes if I'm not booked. But now forcing myself to go to bed earlier and wake up earlier. So kind of recognizing those energy dips, working with my energy and not against it, and then kind of changing my clock in a very responsible manner to achieve everything I want to achieve. That's probably the only thing I would change or advice that I would give to other people, but that's just come with practice and time.
Yes, and your body will tell you. Yep. Danielle, how can we get in touch with you? Do you go on site? You mentioned that you do some remote services. So tell us more about that.
So we do help Charlotte companies. We are happy to go on site in Charlotte in this region, but we are going to DC next week for a conference and Raleigh-Durham in a few weeks. So we are always happy to travel, especially for conferences, for offsite. If you are looking to add a little bit more structure for a company gathering, that's where we could come in and help. But we also do work with remote and hybrid teams, especially companies that are dedicated to preserving a sense of company culture and to take care of that workforce because there are a lot nowadays. So we do work, again, in person and with remote and hybrid. You could find us online, our website, www.thetrianglesessions.com. I'm also Danielle Schulz. You could find me on LinkedIn, and we are on social media, but not a ton.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was brilliant. Thank you for listening. If today's story made a difference, share it with a fellow artist and creative friend. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast and follow me on my socials for tips and tricks to navigate your career change. Until next time, I will see you in the next episode.